back on Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I thought I would film a tag for you guys. I don't know what this tag is called, but I saw Emily Fox do this tag, and she titled the video "Book Recommendations." Um, so maybe I will get the name of the tag later. So you might still see it on the description, but as I'm filming this, I don't know the name of the tag. But anyway, so here goes. So question number 1, a book you tell people is your favorite. And at the moment, it's The Count of Monte Cristo. Now this is a new copy, and I did attempt to reread it before I got this copy. So that's why it doesn't look like I read very far, because I have already read it. I just wanted to do a reread of it. But I absolutely love this revenge story. Yeah, it's not a perfect book, but I feel like even if you say the book is your all-time favorite, it does not mean it's a perfect book. You know, it does have flaws. In this one, there are some slow moments, and there are aspects of the plot that I don't necessarily love, and I've heard other people critique it. And I just love the story for revenge in one of my favorite countries, France. I love hearing about the Napoleonic Wars, pre-war and right when it was getting ready to happen during the war and after the war. I definitely want to read more books, but this was so much fun, and I just love the Count in our aka Dumas and Edmond Dantes. And just, it was a great page-turning story, even with the slower parts and the parts where I was wondering, is this relevant yet? I still absolutely love this book. It's one of my favorites, and I definitely do for a reread. The only reason why I'm going to continue on my reread yet is because look at this bad boy. It is huge. It took me years to reread through the whole thing, and that doesn't mean, I also love It by Stephen King. Again, another book that I know people have problems with, especially a certain scene that you'll probably never see on screen. But I just love how it looks at childhood friendships and our childhood fears. And, and yes, this is probably one of the many reasons why I'm afraid of clowns. It's not the only one. I mean, truly what probably started my fear of clowns is watching, Aren't You Afraid of the Dark's Laughing in the Dark episode. And the Ghastly Grinner episode. But yeah, I love this, and I love his deep dives. I'm really, really talking about the town, the town that is the center of the story, and it's such an awesome story. Yes, it has questionable, yes, but you know what? Like I said, your favorite books aren't going to be perfect, and maybe that's putting it lightly, but I don't care. This is one of my favorites out of Stephen King's work. It still is. Though I'm working my way through The Stand. So yeah. Okay, a book that is a guilty pleasure, and I was having a hard time coming up with the answer for this, but I'm going to say, I'm going to say, probably Sarah J. Maas, because I know she's gone under scrutiny, and I recently watched a video, which I probably shouldn't have watched, that was critiquing her and talking about the reasons why there was a lot of people that don't love her and her work as much, and their their criticisms are valid, but I still love it. I still am Team Resand. Now I have not read the Crescent City series, and I might read it one day, and maybe that means she's not a guilty pleasure for me, because if I'm not reading that series. But so I guess maybe I should say more specifically, the ACOTAR series is a guilty pleasure. I mean, I feel bad for calling it guilty pleasure, because I feel like no book should be guilty pleasure if you enjoy the book, even if it's a book that not everybody loves, or a book that has some things in it that people just are not comfortable with, but you are fine with it and you still enjoy it. You should be able to enjoy it without people making you feel bad about it. But yeah, if I had to pick a guilty pleasure, then probably something like Avatar. A book that everyone loved, you didn't. Oh my god, I had a hard time with this. I don't know. I don't think I have an answer for this. Because I don't remember the books that were considered that not everybody loved that I loved. I can't think of an answer for that one. So a book. Okay, so I'll have an answer for number 3. So number 4, a book you read the fastest. Oh, I forgot to grab. Well, I just finished within 2 days listening to the audiobook of A House with Good Bones. But it helps that it was an audiobook. And so I was sitting, and I was home I wasn't working that day. So that helped. So I was able to listen to it. And then, because unfortunately I can't listen to it at work. Or, if I could seriously get away with it, I would love to be able to listen to it while I'm outside bringing the carts. But I'd probably get in trouble for it. Because I don't think you're not supposed to do that. And, of course, also I'm in a, when I'm getting carts, if I don't hear the cars, then that could put me in a dangerous situation. So it's really not safe. So really the only time I can listen is when I'm at home and not working. So yeah, that's why I was able to get through that pretty fast. I think I got through The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford pretty fast. Not within 2 days or a day, but still. I think I've been getting through the Bernard Cornwell's The Saxon series. Those books, I've been getting through those pretty quickly. Within a couple days. So there are some books I get through fast. But, So next is a book that deserves more hype. Okay, what book was I going to talk about? I can't remember what book I was going to say for that one. Oh, I think I was going to say this one. Maybe not. I don't know. I would love to hear people more talk about Jenna Starborn. I remember really enjoying that. This is a sci-fi retelling of Jane Eyre, which I think is a really cool idea, a really cool approach. And I think this was before the Lunar Chronicles. I have to double check the copyright dates, but yes, I think this. So she was doing this before Marissa Meyer did her Lunar Chronicles. I don't know that. I would actually have to check the copyright dates. Let me see the copyright date of this one. It could potentially have been around the same time. This one is... Okay, so this one is 2002. I don't know when the Lunar Chronicles came out. I would have to look at the copyright for Lunar Chronicles. But this is such a cool retelling, very unique, I think, because I still haven't seen somewhere I feel like there's just starting to have every so often come up with sci-fi retellings of classics or fairy tales. I feel like I'm just starting to see that a lot more. I don't know if this came out before the Lunar Chronicles or not, but I love this. And I want to hear more people talk about it. And then I'd love to hear more people talk about the other Bennett sister, which is a retelling Pride and Prejudice through the eyes of Mary Bennett. And we also get her story. And I think she's so relatable to a lot of readers. A lot of people on BookTube and or just readers in general. She's so quiet and she, and loves to read and cares about knowledge and just feel like she needs to come out of the shadows. I feel like because I don't hear about this book that often, it still feels like she's in the shadows, in the shadow of Elizabeth Bennet. And I want to see more people, know that there are more people. Granted, it's hard for me to tell with hype because it's not like I go searching. I mean, I just watched the 1 or 2 reviews of the book I just read. But, I feel like there are certain books you do hear a lot about, like from multiple sources. So I don't know. But at the moment, I feel like I don't hear a lot about, and I've never heard about Jenna Starborn by Sharon Shin, unless I actually looked for reviews. And then the other Bennett sister, I also would love to hear more people talk about Dracul, especially if you're a Dracula fan. This is like a kind of origin story of what inspired Bram Stoker. I mean, I think it's a fictionalized one, if I remember. Though but I think it's such a cool look at what could have inspired Bram Stoker. So I think, and I love how this is written, and also I like how it treats the female characters. Although thinking about it now, I mean, like you have, like Mina Harker, I agree, she is amazing and probably one of the better characters in the book, in the original Dracula book. And I think it does some unique things with vampires. I mean, it still has the typical elements, but it also there's one character in here that's a little bit different. Probably more inspired by Carmilla, although I have not read that one, so I don't know. I'm just guessing. But yeah, I would like to hear more people give this book a shot and try and talk about it more. Okay, so I'm probably going to use those again for other questions on here. Okay, so those are the books I feel like deserve more hype. A book that is becoming a movie or TV show, and I was oh, you know what I could have done? I mean, it's too late now, but I know that A Gentleman in Moscow is going to become a either movie or TV show. In fact, one of you guys told me about it, I think. Either, and now unfortunately it's on Paramount, and we don't have Paramount, and I already pay for 2 streaming networks in our household. Well, actually 1, I think, because one of the ones, it's my sister actually pays for it, and I was gonna give her money for it, and that's the Disney Plus account, but she didn't take it, so I think I only pay for Max. So I would love to watch it, but if it's the only one that I'm gonna watch on Paramount, then I don't want to get it just for one. Granted, I could do what my mom does. I mean, I don't know if she would be cool with that, but where you temporarily buy it and then you cancel it. So I could do that, but I don't know. But yeah, I know that's becoming one. And okay, so yeah, I'll just stick with that one, because the other one, I don't know if it's already been, if it's already been out or not. I think I was originally going to use The Stand, because I remember they were going to make another adaptation of it, but I don't know if it came out yet or not. But and I do believe The Dark Tower is going to be adapted again and from what a lot of fans have said, it's going to be adapted by someone that cares more about the work. And I personally think it should be a TV show, so that they can cover the whole series, not just one movie where you don't know if it's gonna succeed. I think that's risky. I think it's easier to do a TV show, because then you could have like a 1 season with a handful of episodes where you have time to explore the world and explore the characters and introduce the story, and you could still potentially get a whole story, and you can find ways to slowly build it up to make sense for people. So yeah, sorry I don't have anything to show you guys, but anyway, so a book that you reread the most, and where is that book at? Where is it? Wait, I have 2 actually, and they're both classics. We have Persuasion by Jane Austen. The first time this book didn't click for me, but then I kept rereading it, and it started to slowly click for me, and slowly click, and really I got more into it and started to appreciate more and enjoy it more, and now it's definitely on the favorites list. I have been meaning to reread. I don't know if I'm going to reread it for Jane Austen July or not, but I do want to get some of her books like Sandition and the Watsons and that Lady Susan. I want to get ones in Love and Friendship. I want to get a book with those in it so I can read those for Jane Austen July. So I have, because I still have not read those. I mean, I do have access to Lady Susan, but it's in that big, Barnes & Noble leather-bound one. And that's kind of hard to read. But yes, this one I have reread multiple times, and I've loved it more and more each time I read it. And then of course, Jane Eyre. I love this book. Yes, the whole romance has got issues, and Jane could probably do better, but then I always think, or could she? Because people see her as plain and not worth their time, so she didn't have a lot of options. I feel like even though, yes, there are some issues with Rochester, he's not a great love interest. He's, their relationship was built on a lie. And he's kind of manipulative, but I still love this. I love Jane's story, her coming of age, making her own choices. And despite Rochester's issues, I do feel like they fell in love with each other for who they were. I mean, she knows his issues. And yes, she probably shouldn't settle for him, but again, what other options did she have except for St. John? And St. John was not that great either. He was not a saint, as his name implies. So, yeah. But I love this, and I love these editions. It very much reminds me of Tim Burton and his art style. I wanted to get Wuthering Heights in that version, but I haven't yet. So those are two of those that I reread multiple times. Excuse me. Okay. So then we have a book from a genre you don't typically read. And I picked one that I'm not finished with yet, but that is The Museum of Abandoned Secrets by Oksana Zabuzko. Sorry, I still do not know how to pronounce her name, but this is a translated work, and it's set in I always forget Ukraine. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name Ukraine. I mean, it's been in the news a lot. You have this television journalist, Darna, and she finds out about this woman, Elena Dovigan, who did a lot of amazing things, and she's been trying to research and learn more about this woman. And it's such an interesting read. Now I haven't picked it up in a while, so I need to pick it up again to remind myself of what is going on. I believe she's in a relationship with someone that is related to the woman, Elena. But it's just such an engaging story, and like I said, it's the only problem is that the writing style is stream of consciousness, so I very much struggle with that and figuring what's going on in stream of consciousness, because you're just in a person's head, so figuring out what's going on in the moment can be very confusing and daunting. But I am slowly getting better. I just need to pick this up again and continue with it so I could talk about it better. But yeah, it's a very interesting experience. Okay, so a book that deserves all the hype it gets. Okay. What book I was gonna say for that? Dang it, what book was I gonna say for that? I cannot remember. Well, I feel like the Count of Monte Cristo, all the hype it gets, it definitely deserves. Although I know there are people that would disagree, I imagine. But yeah, I feel like this is such a great book. So sorry that I don't have an. I don't think I don't think I came up with an answer to that one. Okay, a book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. Okay, so when I'm going to say something similar to what Emily Fox said in her video when she answered this question, I feel like you need to it's a book, I feel like when getting recommendations, I have to ask people questions about what they're into. I mean, I did have one person, a coworker at work, ask me and was like, just because he found out from my dad, he's, my dad's age, and I think they met on the golf course, and he was, and I was like, okay, I feel like I can't give you recommendations without asking you what you're into, and he's like, oh no, just give me anything. And it just was like, I don't want to just give you anything. I want to pick you up, give you something that I think you would genuinely want to read. So, and I didn't end up just giving him a random recommendation. I don't even know if he ever read it. In fact, I gave him 2 recommendations, and I don't know if he ever read either one of them. And I don't know if, he just found it kind of cool that I read and everything. It was like, oh, I wonder if she could give me the recommendations because my dad told him I could. It was kind of put me on the spotlight. And like I said, I feel like you can't just give anyone anything, any recommendation, because I feel like you gotta know what their interests are. I mean, I think everybody has the types of books they like to read. There's more people, I don't think there's more people who have specific taste in reading than there are people that will read anything. I mean, I think if you never read a book before and you're from a completely different world or another planet or something, or not even from here, this world, I think you have to be completely, from another world to will be really willing to read anything. So yeah, that I don't like that question, and there's been variations of that question. And I'm like, I can't answer that. I can't just give you a book on the spot. I need to know, because I don't, I know it's probably not that serious, and it's not like they're actually expecting. They're actually going to take. People will take this recommendation seriously. But I just can't think of it on the spot, and I want to know there's some, that I can ask someone specifically. So yeah, I'm not gonna answer. There's another question that's similar that's coming up in this questionnaire, and it's a little bit better, a little bit easier for me to come up with something. But anyway, I will come to that one in a minute. A book, and plus I don't recommend usually for the very reasons I said. So I don't have an answer for that one. Okay, so the next one is a book that has your favorite characters. Okay, I don't know if I have an answer for this one either. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one because there are so many characters that I enjoy. Yeah, I honestly don't have an answer for this one. I would, I thought I would, but it's very hard to come up with an answer. Even looking at, I guess, okay, so, I love the characters, almost all the characters, even Rachel. judgmental, bossy Rachel. I am, I love. I guess that this is the best answer I can come up with because I do love all the characters in this book, and I already want to reread this book. But I want to read the other books in the series first, and there's not that many. But yeah, I love Anne and her imagination and just her optimistic attitude about life and her hopes and her hopefulness and her wanting to get close, her always forming strong bonds with people, and really, once you're part of Anne's life, you stay in Anne's life, and just the way she sees the world, and just how, like, and it's almost, how emotional she is and how dramatic she is can be very entertaining. Like, I would love to see, you know what, and this would be another, I would love to see, Cinema Therapy cover Anne with an E. Because you could really look at Anne and her family and everything, her character, because she's such an interesting, complex character that, and they really dive deep into her psyche, and they show Anne with an E. And you get more, but yeah, so I love all these characters. They're so much fun, and so yeah, that's my answer for that one. And I'm probably gonna use that for another one. Okay, so next we have a book that made you cry. Oh, well, I guess I did. I cried in, was it? Oh, let me see. I can't see it from here. The Jane Austen Life in Letters. I think that's what it was. It was that nonfiction book. Yeah, because we get the letters from Jane Austen. And but it wasn't even Jane's letters. It was a letter from Cassandra after Jane died that made me cry. So yeah, that book made me cry. And usually books don't make me cry. But I actually have an answer for this one, and it will probably always be an answer with a question like with that question. Okay, so a book you wish you could read for the first time. Okay, what book was I gonna pick for that one? I'm trying to think, what was the book I wanted to be like a I mean, the other Bennett sister and the Green Gables I would love to read reread for the first time. The Weight of Ink by Rachel Caddish I would love to reread even the Count of Monte Cristo I would love to reread for the first time. The Secret History, a lot of these books I would love to reread for the first time. I think it was this one that I was going to pick. The Historian by Elizabeth Costovo. I would love to reread this for the first time as well. It's another Dracula-inspired story where the idea of Dracula being real, but he is actually the historical figure, Vlad Dracul, and just exploring the possibility that he might actually still be alive. And our main character is trying to find him. And I would love to reread this for the first time. It doesn't have as much vampire action, but it's still such a cool idea in a creepy kind of way. And all the dark academia stuff, like the research and going to all these different countries, it felt so in the Eastern Europe. This was just so much fun, and I love reading. I love the writing, and there's something about it. I would love to be able to reread it for the first time all over again. And all the other books I said as well, I would love to reread for the first time. Okay, so, a book that I could hear a reading slip. I did not have an answer for this because I don't know. It's very hard. yeah, it would be hard. It's hard to come up with a book that I feel like could cure a reading slump. I mean, I think a lot of children's classic literature like Anne of Green Gables, or Alice in Wonderland or Wizard of Oz or something. I personally think it could cure a reading slump because they're fun books. They're easy reading. They're not super long. You know, I feel like you shouldn't underestimate children. Just because it's labeled children's literature does not mean it's just a book that for children. I think as an adult you can read it and appreciate it and still enjoy it, not just be like, oh, it's a silly little kid story. It was fun, but it was just for kids. I feel like an adult could still see the magic and wonder and all that. And I think it could help you get back into reading if you read a bunch of or short stories even. I think that could really help. Although, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I've never been reading slump before, but truthfully, I've never found myself in a reading slump. Like I found myself right after finish a book, not wanting to read anything and just wanting to watch TV. But then I get back into reading the next day. So, a book you wish you could live in, and I said, where is it? And I went ahead and picked The World of Jane Austen. Now, it's not always great for women this time period. There are a lot of flaws in this time period, like women can't vote, and we had to wear dresses all the time, and corsets, and all this, but just, at least this version of it, Jane's version, is still so much fun. Yes, it would be hard to find a husband, but I mean, I would have to get married. So yeah, there are cons to living in this world, but just my romanticism of this is, I just, it would be so much fun to live in this time period and just wear the beautiful dresses and go to the balls, and I could read all day. I could read a lot and just travel on horseback and explore the countryside and go just laze about and just relax. I mean, like I said, it'll be hard, the whole finding husband hunting thing, and that I can't vote. And, yeah, it sucks being a man's property, essentially, but Jane Austen's world, her version of this, so just humor me. I mean, I know that there's a lot of cons to this time period, but I can't, whenever I read her books, I want to be sucked into the story. I want to literally be able to transport myself into the world of her books. Like Jane Austen Land, that story, I want to do what happened in that miniseries. I would be very apprehensive about the whole romance thing, but anyway, so yeah. So just please let me have this dream, this fantasy, even if there was a lot of negatives to that time period. Okay, so that was a book. Okay, a book you think everyone needs to read. Oh, crap. I'm not doing these questions in order. I just realized this last chunk is out of order. Okay, a book that you thought you would hate but end up loving. I don't have any books that thought I would end up loving, but I did have a lot of books that I didn't hate as much as I thought I would. Like The Turn of the Screw. I have that on my Kindle, and I actually kind of liked it. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about East of Eden, but I ended up loving it, although I did not love Grapes of Wrath. So yeah, there are some books that I was like, I'm not sure if I'll love them, but I didn't love them necessarily, but I liked them a little bit more than I thought I would. So, yeah, so it's a variation of that question. Okay, A book that made you cry. Okay, I already answered that one. A book you wish you could read for the first time again. I add that one. Okay, a book that you think everyone needs to read. Okay, so people might disagree with me on these. Okay. Well, actually, okay. First, Anne of Green Gables, because it's just a feel-good book. I mean, I gotta admit, at first, I didn't know if I was gonna love it because I'm not the target audience. But I just love this book. It made me feel so good and happy. I read it last spring. It's perfect for this time of year to read. I'm gonna read the second book this year, next month. But it has a really good message about friendship and seeing the positive side of things, and and all that triumph, and it just really makes you appreciate life and the world around you and seeing the magic and everything. And what is that expression that Darlene does and some other booktubers, making your life, romanticizing your life. Like, even if you can't, like, I mean, just not exactly like living your life old fashioned, but just seeing the positives in your life and trying to find little ways to romanticize it. Like, you don't have to, like, go all of a sudden go, like, live off the grid or get rid of, go completely cold turkey with technology or anything, but just appreciate the little things and having cozy experiences and appreciating the world around you and nature and everything. It's just such a fun story. Like, I mean, it's probably not for everybody, but I wish more people would give this a shot. So, okay, so I feel like people should read. Okay, so this is one of the ones where I'm not sure if this is the best answer, but the Federalist Papers, I think they're very informative. I'm not finished with them, but I think so far they're very informative and really talk about the original goals of the Founding Fathers and what they intended with the Federalist Papers. I mean, I feel like the education system is seriously lacking with how much they teach us in social studies. And I feel like it would really give you an understanding and appreciation of what the Founding Fathers did and what they wanted, their purpose with creating the United States and their true intentions. I think it's a very good thing to read. Yes, there's a little bit of repetition, and Hamilton and Madison probably use a lot of words that they don't necessarily. I mean, there's simpler ways they can explain their intentions and what they want to talk about in these essays, but I feel like they really want to get this to people, get people to understand, and make sure there was no holes in their explanations. So they really covered everything very thoroughly, even repeating themselves. But I think this is an important thing to read. I don't know if other schools around the U.S. have read the Federalist Papers, but I know I did not have to read that. I don't remember being assigned the Federalist Papers. So, and I think it's important to read them because it really covers an important aspects of our history. One of the important aspects of our history. So, I feel like it is worth trying to read. So yeah, I would put this also for a book you wish everyone give a chance, even if it's out of your comfort zone. But yeah, I feel like this is okay. So the third one that I wanted to pick that also I might use for another question on here is one that is kind of personally something I want people to read more of. And that is, okay, I'm not gonna even bother trying to say the title in Tagalog, but Touch Me Not by Jose Rizal. I feel like more people should read this so that more people can learn about the history of the Philippines, because there are a lot of other Asian cultures we hear a lot about. We hear a lot about China and Japan, and Vietnam and Korea, but this is one of the Asian islands that you don't hear a lot about. I mean, it is part of my DNA, and I don't remember learning about the Philippines in school. Like maybe it getting mentioned, but this, I mean, they went through a lot too. Like they were not the only one. Like Korea was not the only place um that Japan invaded. Japan went after the Philippines too, and I want people, and this is of course not the only one. Like I have other books in that especially are about what happened in the 40s and then in World War II in the Philippines and Japan taking over the Philippines. And also now this one particularly is about when Spain took over, way before Japan did. And I want more people to learn more about this as a personal, for me personally. Like I want to hear more about, I feel like schools should talk more about the Philippines. I want my nephews and niece to learn more about the Philippines. I mean, I don't even know which of my relatives would be the best person to talk to if I wanted to ask. And plus, they might not be, within. They will probably be far away, so I can't really just sit down and talk to them. I mean, I could email them, but, or write a letter or something. But I feel like this is important. This is an Asian culture that we don't talk about, and I feel like we need to talk about the history of the Philippines more. Like, I don't remember learning about it in social studies. Maybe, like I said, maybe briefly it was mentioned, but, I feel like unless you take a specific class that talks about the Philippines, so I would, as a personal favor to me, I would love more people to read more books like this one. And I feel like this is another book that, applies to that question number 19, which is a book that might be on your comfort zone. I mean, I don't know if this is on people's comfort zone. But this is another one that I wish people give a shot to. Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. So I was right. For a second, I thought it meant a book that would be out of your comfort zone that you wish more people would read. But no, it's a book you wish everyone would give a shot to. Okay, so I kind of answered that question number 19 as well. Okay, so next is a book you think would make an amazing movie. Okay, there's a lot. I would love to see this one get adapted because everyone loves vampires, and the Demeter is a Dracula related book, as you know, is a Dracula related movie because it's about the ship that Dracula sailed on to get to England. Like they made a movie about that with Liam Cunningham. So this is another Dracula book that I think would be great to see if it was adapted. I think a lot of people would really be interested in it. I would love to see the other Bennett sister. I mean, heck, I would love to see Longbourn also adapted. I think I would love to see more. They adapt all the Jane Austen novels multiple times, but I want to see more adaptations of the Jane Austen the Jane Austen inspired spin-off books or reimagined books. But I would love to see this one adapted because Mary Bennett needs to get a chance to shine, not just in the book world, but also amongst people who will have seen the movie adaptations of Jane Austen's novel of Pride and Prejudice. I want to see this one get adapted. And a lot of people love these kinds of, historical fiction, especially Jane Austen inspired. Like Bridgerton is a hit. So why not adapt some of the movies that were inspired by Jane Austen? Jenna Starborn, like I said, I think this is a cool take on a retelling of a classic. They did, I would love to see the Lunar Chronicles also adapted. Like, it would be really cool to see these sci-fi retellings of these classics be adapted into movies or TV shows. That would be really fun. I actually did, even though this has already been adapted multiple times, I would love to see like a limited series or mini series or TV series. Actually, my video was about making a TV series, so you can spend even more time with the Count of Monte Cristo as a TV series. You know, because it could be, and I think it would be a lot better adaptation than some of the other ones. I mean, some of like, you know, I will defend this. I will still say this. I will wave my flag for this. I will never surrender my opinion to this. But I still like that movie adaptation that they made a couple years ago. Of the Count of Monte Cristo. But as that video was about, I want to see this become a TV show. I would love to see Count of Monte Cristo get adapted into a TV show. But yeah, so let's see, what's another one? Okay, I also would love to see, I think this would be a great, you know, limited series, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It kind of makes me think a little bit of, what is it called? The movie with Robin Williams and he's the teacher. Dead Poet Society kind of feels a little bit like that, but with a murder mystery involved, and a bunch of snobby kids that love Greek culture, and but I think this would be a great, like, would offer intrigue, and you know, there's a murder going on, there's someone that gets murdered, and there's like pretentious kids. I think everybody's drawn to that, and actually I'd love to see Stoner get adapted. I don't know if it ever has been, but I think that would be a great story to be adapted as well. But yeah, this would be like really exciting. I mean, I think they already adapted The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, so why not adapt this one too? Okay, so next is one that is for one of my favorite booktubers, Aaliyah Brooks. This is her first book in the Peace and Turmoil series. Now, it's not like she's still working on the series, and I think now she's ready to work on book 2. So, and this is independently published, I think. So she's not, you know, unfortunately, she's not a big name yet. But if she did become one, I would love to see her Peace and Turmoil adapted, because I think this is a really good first book. And the concept is really cool. But yeah, I think it would take some time before this happens. I do need to reread this before book 2 comes out. But yeah, I would love to see this get adapted as well. So, and then I'm just gonna. The last one that I'm gonna say is The Weight of Ink by Rachel Kadish, another academia type book, and Jewish history that we don't talk. That's not talked about a lot. I mean, you'll hear about what happened to the Jews in biblical times, and then in the 1940s with World War II and all that, 30s and 40s. But this is during, you know, the time of the plague and everything. And in modern day, and just I think this would be a really cool premise to see adapted. You know, it's these people, this old female teacher or historian, and this young college student doing research on finding this old manuscript and learning about this woman that disguised herself. You know, was a scribe? Yeah, a scribe. This woman who, you know, this young woman who becomes a scribe, and even though in a time where she was not only a woman but a Jewish woman, she would be looked down and judged for doing that. I think this would just be a really great premise to see on screen. Okay, so next we have okay. think those are the ones that I think what I would love to see as movies or even TV series or limited series. Okay. All right. So I already answered the question 19 and a book you'll never forget. Oh, it's gonna be hard. I don't know. I mean, because there are a lot of books I absolutely love. I mean, all the books I talk about, like Jane Eyre, I feel like I will never forget. It by Stephen King, The Count of Monte Cristo. It's just, and The Historian. I don't know. There's so many great books, now, there are times when I have to reread it to remember everything, but usually, but once I start reading it, it all comes back to me really easily. So there are a lot of books that I just love that I think are unforgettable and just make this great impression on me, and it's really hard for me to answer that question, just to pick one book. But anyway, so yeah, that, like I said, I don't know the name of this tag. But I guess it's a book recommendations tag. I don't know. I will, once I upload this, I will look for the name. But anyway, so those are my answers for these questions. If you guys want to do this, I will post the questions on my the description box below. And if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. I hope you are enjoying your reading right now, and like I said, if you want to answer any of these questions without doing a whole video, feel free to answer in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye!